have not had in studio for a while. United States Senator Bill Cassidy is here. Hey, Mr. Bill. Dr. Bill, how are you this morning?
I'm good, Robert. How are you, man?
Well, you're in Washington. Suddenly everything has calmed down. It's smoothed out, thanks in great part to your calming influence.
Washington's not calm. I mean, Donald Trump is not going to let Washington be calm. So.
On the 1 to 10 scale of what you anticipated, is with 10 being, this place is crazier than I thought. Where would you place our nation's capital?
Well, again, Donald Trump's, what did he say about Kim Jong-un? It was a joke, but maybe it wasn't a joke. He goes something like, that crazy little guy, he's got to worry about me. I'm the crazy big guy.
do you sense that in sort of all seriousness, that what people don't get about Trump is that he is in constant negotiation, and as quoted in The Art of the Deal, if your first offer doesn't make your adversary cringe, then you're not doing it right. And he throws out a lot of things that make his adversaries cringe.
He clearly does that. If you even go back to North Korea, in all seriousness, the whole reason that Kim Jong-un is willing to negotiate is that he truly thinks Trump would do something crazy. And because of that, all of a sudden, he can't just kind of sit there and say, oh, man, I'm going to hunker down. He's thinking this guy will take me out.
Do you think the, in verbal italics, craziness that Trump projects, do you think he is a man who goes to bed at night stressed out, or is your sense that he is just enjoying this like nothing he's ever done before?
You know, I'm not sure he enjoys Robert Mueller, but on the other hand, I think he just loves conflict. I said to someone, I said to a New Yorker, he's just another New Yorker that, hey, don't offend New Yorkers. So he just loves conflict. He's a very aggressive personality. He likes to stick a finger in somebody's eye. On the other hand, I do think Mueller gets to him.
The budget bill sticks a finger in the taxpayer's eye. It's a $1.3 trillion. There's no spending priorities. It's just a mess. You voted no. I don't understand, and we asked Senator Kennedy this, who caved? Who decided we're caving?
Well, a couple things. You know, I'm a gastroenterologist, so the word incontinent immediately comes to mind about that bill.
That was good.
And so
do that one on TV. See how it feels.
I won't go any further.
Well, he was talking about whizzing on legs, so you're good. Y'all are good.
You have a point.
Yeah.
So what happened is that just total story is that Republicans wanted more money for the military. Under the budget cap agreement, 2/3 of the cuts had come from the military. We saw that soldiers were dying and sailors and Marines were dying in training accidents, not in combat, and it was thought it was related to stress. Now, the Democrat Party's price for increasing the military spending was to increase spending on domestic issues. And that was their price to agree. At that point, Mitch McConnell, Paul Ryan, Pelosi, and Schumer get into a room and they negotiated. That's how it played.
Disappointed with your leaders on the Republican side?
You know, I think you pointed out this is a finger in the eye of the taxpayer, and it is. And we were concerned about the debt and deficit 3 to 4 years ago. Now it seems that we are not, and I think we should be. And so in that case, I am disappointed.
What's in it for Louisiana?
Well, Barksdale, Fort Polk, Belle Chase will be part of the general increased spending of things on the military. And that's good. These are critical to defending our country. We're going to be transitioning from a war that will be in the mountains of Afghanistan, it appears, into that which is more typical war, if you will, where Russian soldiers, mercenaries, attack our troops in Iraq. And by the way, if you've not listened to the transcript of the Russian soldiers getting slaughtered by our troops, it's a great thing to listen to. Our guys were ready for them, even though it was a surprise attack, and those folks were just like amazed at how strong our folks were. So we're going to be transitioning to more of a conventional type situation, and we have to be prepared for that.
Anything with regard to roads, schools? I mean,
there is money to harden schools. After that shooting in Parkland, obviously we have to have a response, and folks want their children to go to school and not worry about their safety. Now, there's always going to be someone out there that's going to do something terrible, but the degree that you can make it more difficult for that one person is better, and there was a lot of money in the bill that will help school systems make their schools less likely to be preyed upon by a troubled young person who desires to make a mark in life.
Senator, the junior senator is younger than, no wait, the senior
He's
senator.
the senior senator.
Who is younger than the junior senator.
Oh.
No small irony there. United
that.
States Senator Bill Cassidy is here. Before we get into the opioid stuff, a little bit more on specifically gun control, and it's the Stop School Violence Act. Tell us about that and what you favor and what you're against, and sort of just tell everybody where you stand.
So a couple things. Again, the Stop School Violence Act is trying to make schools harder. If you look at the Nicholas Cruz in Florida, he went up to a second floor window, I'm told, and tried to shoot down upon the playground, but the second floor window was bulletproof, and so it could not go through. Adam Lanza, when he went to Sandy Hook, he couldn't get in the door, so he shot out a window and he walked in. If there had been a bulletproof window at Sandy Hook, as there was in Florida, then Adam Lanza could not have gained entry to the school. So if we can make the schools safer, and we're sorry to have to do that, but nonetheless, if we can make them safer, then we can protect children, and we need to protect children.
All paid for by federal money because our state's broke, as you know.
There's a huge slug of federal money. I can't tell you the exact sum off the top of my head, but a huge slug of federal money that's available for states and school districts to pull down to help retrofit, if you will, these schools.
The opioid crisis. You've introduced several bills with regard to harsher penalties. Tell us about those first, and then I want to talk to you a little bit about, because you're a doctor, so I want to talk to you about a lot of the allegations are filed against doctors even.
Well, a couple things. Everybody, we're talking offline, everybody knows somebody who has had a family member die of opioids. It is just incredible. And there has to be just this response to it that is of the same measure as the problem. Now, you don't just do one thing, you do lots of things. But, for example, the penalties for selling fentanyl, which is much stronger than heroin, the penalties should be likewise stronger. And if somebody is going to bring in fentanyl, which is much more likely to cause someone to die of an overdose, then they should be penalized accordingly. President Trump wants to have death penalty for those certain drug pushers.
You can't be for that.
There's a certain rationale. There is a young man I know of, and whenever I speak of him, I get emotional. But he went to treatment. He came out of treatment, 17-year-old, and you can see it. The pusher didn't want him to get clean. So the pusher searches him out, and when he emerges from treatment, gives him drug laced with fentanyl. He's used to heroin. He dies of an overdose the day after leaving treatment. Now, if that was premeditated, that's premeditated murder. Now, that is something that we as a society have to think about. And it does seem, now, you're right, maybe it's manslaughter, but there should be some penalty commensurate with the fact that you're causing someone's death.
What about the accusations that some doctors have been over-prescribing opioids for years, and that we should address that as well?
There's two aspects to that. There's so-called pill mills, a doctor that might move between Arkansas, Mississippi, Louisiana, and Texas, and you walk in, give them $500, and you walk out with 4 prescriptions. So we've got to shut down pill mills. That's been an ongoing effort. Louisiana has done a very good job of putting our systems together so as to be able to work with law enforcement and shut down pill mills. That's a good thing. Second thing, though, is that some physicians will just routinely write for more than they need to. There's a study recently in which patients go into the same emergency room, same condition, but seeing 2 different doctors. One would walk out with a 3-week prescription, and one would walk out with a 3-day prescription of opioids. If you have a genetic predisposition to addiction, you go in not an addict, and 3 weeks later you are. And so we've got to address that, and that's the other thing we're doing.
Let me ask you this, because this hurts my heart a lot too. Just last week delivered Easter baskets to several local agencies, including Hope Connections for homeless folks, Christian Services, and I saw a lot of people milling around. Vast majority of them need recovery help. They need help getting off of their drugs. I know one of your measures is addressing that. We need more money for that. Is that coming?
Yes, there is, and there's actually 2 pots of money, one going to communities and to agencies. That's been the money that's been getting out. And there's another pot of money going to the state. there's been a lag time in getting both regulations written on the federal level and states applying, and that money will be coming. There's hundreds of millions available for that, and it is to make sure that there's treatment, but that the treatment is also good. You don't want somebody just running folks through with no benefit. You want to make sure that when they go through, they're more likely to be cured than otherwise. And so 2 aspects of that: to help the patient, protect the taxpayer.
In wrapping up, let's get back to the macro of America just a little bit. Despite the ongoing seeming chaos that is just hurled day in and day out by the mainstream media, I see, after a year of Donald Trump, I see America being in a pretty good place. The economy is growing and stronger than it's been in a long, long time. Worldwide, he's what you said, this real estate guy from New York. He seems to be winning at every stage. Do you agree with me on that?
Absolutely. Folks don't like his style. He is an acquired taste for many. Even his fans wish he would stop tweeting. On the other hand, we have almost record low unemployment, which means record high employment of veterans. We have record low unemployment of African Americans, record low unemployment of Hispanic Americans. We have the economy growing roughly 2 times higher than it was over the last 8 years. We have wages starting to grow. People who've been unemployed for years getting back into the job force. He wants to have American energy dominance. So there's now gas wells opening back up in the Haynesville. There's a big oil development down in central Louisiana. That puts Americans back to work. You go through DeSoto Parish, they clearly have a tax base from their natural gas. It also puts money back into municipal government to provide services. So Trump, you may not like his style, and in fact, if you poll, do you like Donald Trump? 50% of the people say no. Do you like his policies? 60% say yes, I like his policies. So they like his policies.